What is the ultimate book on personal development? Hey everyone, Scott Stalker here. Today I want to talk about two books, both of them that I value an awful lot. And I've talked about them before, different videos on them. But today I want to kind of have a rivalry, a battle. And this will be from the book by Dale Carnegie, How to Win Friends and Influence People. And also the great book that many of you know, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. So both excellent books, one kind of a timeless classic, one a little bit more recent, but both of them I think that everyone should read. And so let me talk about what the uniqueness of each book is, what do they bring, and then at the end here I'll talk about which one that I think is a little bit better and why, where they're both similar, what separates them, and then which one I always have with me no matter what I do. All right, so let's get started. In Dale Carnegie's book, How to Win Friends and Influence People, one of the key themes throughout the book, throughout the entire thing that you get out of this, is building positive relationships. And he walks you through in the book, I'm not going to do all that here, the steps on how to build positive relationships, how to grow them, how to create them, how to nurture them, and how to utilize those relationships. Because in this business world, in the world of leadership, quite frankly, in the world itself, everything is about relationships. You'll often hear it's not who you know, it's who knows you. And I think this book does a great job focusing on that. Carnegie also focuses on being an effective communicator. And there's so many ways to communicate. You've got the video, what we're doing here on YouTube. You've got social media. I have things on LinkedIn and I talk about how to effectively communicate as well. There's also how do you publicly speak, eye contact, tone, inflection, the words you choose to use, your body language, all of those things, writing an email, everything matters. I often talk about 272, the importance of that number, which is how many words were in the Gettysburg Address. And if you're going to effectively communicate, your email probably shouldn't be longer than that. If it is, then you need to set up a meeting. All right, so Carnegie emphasizes effective communications. And number 3 is influencing behaviors. And Carnegie talks through a number of these ways, how you can understand their needs and their desires so that you can help influence their behaviors. All right, so those are the 3 there in Dale Carnegie's book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. The key themes of the book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective Leaders by Stephen Covey, personal effectiveness. And he talks an awful lot about personal effectiveness and why it matters. Just to precept my points here is I often talk about habits of thought leading to habits of action, which then leads to success in life. And I really love this book because it gets into more in depth on that exact phrase that I talked about there. And so personal effectiveness, developing essential habits. And those habits are really, you can go in depth when you wake up in the morning, how you get your day started, what you allow to enter your mind, the people you surround yourself with, and getting the baseline of habits and getting those done first and foremost, your rest, your reading, your physical activity, all of the most important things first, developing those habits of action via the habits of thought, which lead to success. And he talks about that a lot. Emphasizing self-awareness and proactivity. Being proactive is a key theme in Stephen Covey's book here, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And proactive means you're having those positive habits and you're doing things. It's hard to have positive habits if you aren't proactive. Otherwise, you're just doing what everyone else does, all right? And you're enjoying the same exact success. He talks an awful lot about interpersonal relationships and why that's critical. It underscores the importance of empathy. And we know how important empathy is. Being able to see yourself and others, understanding the issues and challenges they face. If you're going to be a highly effective person, you got to understand and have empathy for others. Number 3, the continuous focus on your personal development. This is everything my channel is about. This is everything I talk about. The importance of investing in yourself so that you can continue to be a more professional individual, a better leader, a better husband, father, wife, whatever your thing is. But if you're going to grow, if you're going to get better, in the book 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, Stephen talks about it an awful lot, focusing on your own personal development. So what are the 7 habits of highly effective people? I think it's important that I just quickly go through those so that we can discuss why, again, I like one book a little bit better than the other, where they're the same and where they're different. So the first habit of highly effective people, be proactive. The first and foremost thing is you got to be proactive. Number 2, begin with the end in mind. I love this. working backwards, knowing where you want to be and then working backwards. I'm glad he put this in there. It kind of resonated with me, and it even validated a lot of things I've always done, because I've always worked backwards. Know where I want to go and then work backwards from there. Number 3, put first things first. A good friend of mine always says, keep the main thing the main thing. But you've got to put first things first. Whatever's most important, get that done, because the ankle biters, the less important things will always be there. But put first things first. Number 4, think win-win. Everything you do, even when you fail at something, what did you learn? Turn that into a win. When you have an engagement with someone, was it a positive engagement? Did you have the proper handshake, the eye contact? Was that a win? Everything should be a win-win. Number 5, seek first to understand, then to be understood. That's so important, right? So you're listening first, then you're trying to be understood. Instead of just talking and vomiting out a lot of information and not listening to the other person, but seek first to understand. And that is a really, really important trait. And I've seen as leaders go up the chain and go up higher, most people that are really, really towards the top focused on being able to understand first and foremost. Number 6, synergize. So this is the flow of things. This is making sure you have the right habits. This is making sure that everything is laid out in sequential order, but you have synergy, energy, positiveness, all focusing on getting the win-win and making sure that you're a more highly effective individual through these habits. And number 7, sharpen the saw. We talk a lot in the Marine Corps about iron sharpening iron. This is surrounding yourself with people that are better than you, maybe better than you at a specific thing. This is reading. This is focusing on your own personal development so that you continue to improve. And so sharpening the saw is the 7th habit of highly effective people. So where are these 2 books similar? Well, there's a couple themes that I want to draw out where they are similar in terms of they have the same message. First, both of them focus on building positive relationships and effective communication. And I don't know how you can be successful at anything if you don't have positive relationships and you're able to effectively communicate. So first and foremost, both of these books focus on those areas. And number 2, and I don't think this will surprise anyone, both of them focus on your own personal development. Every business book you'll read, every leadership book you read, if it talks about growth and progress and continuing to improve, they all focus on emphasizing your own personal development. And so both of these books, in their own ways, tell you constantly and consistently to focus on your own personal development if you're going to achieve greatness and excellence and continue to grow. And again, veterans that may be listening or others that listen to this channel, students, you name it, if you're trying to go somewhere, and we talked about working our way backwards, the way you're going to get there is to be a better version of yourself. How do you become a better version of yourself? Knowledge, experience, which equals wisdom. So where are the key differences in these 2 books? How to Win Friends and Influence People and the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. The first one is How to Win Friends focuses a little bit more on interpersonal skills and influencing others' behaviors, while the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People focus a little bit more on diving deeper into personal effectiveness and the habits. A little difference there, some nuances, but the habits is, again, as you would imagine, the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. So it's the things you do every single day to become vice, influencing others and affecting change in the way that you want to. So that's one of the key differences in the book. Another one, Carnegie's book provides a few more specific techniques and strategies for social interactions, whereas Stephen Covey's book gets a little bit more on broader principles and habits for personal and interpersonal effectiveness. Those 2 things are a little bit differences there. I think they go well together. You want to read one book before the other and bring those together. It is a nuance in where they're a little bit different. And then lastly, the final difference in these 2 books. Covey's approach emphasizes aligning actions with principles and values, and I think that's important, whereas Carnegie's book approach focuses more on immediate social interactions and influencing others. Again, one is the habits that you need individually to become who you want to become. The other one is focusing in more of a business perspective of getting individuals to understand where you're trying to come from, influencing the behavior, and getting to victory. So where do I stand on these 2 books? Which one do I like better? Well, listen, I love them both. And I'm not going to end it there. I'm going to actually tell you which one I prefer. And that is Dale Carnegie's book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. A lot of it is because it is a classic. It's a timeless classic. And I have found that I take it with me whenever I travel. And the value in this book is just remarkable. I'll just open up, page 35 or page 70, and I'll just read that while I'm on the plane. I don't have to reread the entire book. And every single time I do, I get something out of it. I also very much do love Stephen Covey's book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, because I am a true believer in the habits of thought leading to habits of action and leading to success. And I think you need both of these. But if I was going to pick just one, I would pick Dale Carnegie's book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. All right, everyone, would love to hear your thoughts on this. Which book do you think I should have went with? Do you have a different book that you think is a little bit better? Anything you'd like me to talk about in the areas of personal development? Please share your thoughts there in the comments section. I appreciate you watching today. Thank you for focusing on your own personal development.